Hi and welcome. It's Lavender Sky Panther with you on Monday, October 23rd, 2023, for a fun little card reading today, and we're going to just jump right into it. So go ahead and pick on the left is group 1, in the center group 2, and on the right group 3. Or as I always like to say, feel free to pick up to, 2 or all 3 groups if you like. The overall message is coming right away from this little olive tree with the little olives on it. So obviously it's a symbol of peace. So hopefully today is peaceful for you, or you can find and get to that peace. Maybe it takes being the bigger person and extending the olive branch, so to speak, in situations that might be a little contentious. We can always take the higher road if we like. And that's the goal anyway. So it's sometimes, you can play in the mud and have fun, and sometimes it's just not fun. So anyway, today's message is, if you have the opportunity to be the bigger person, or to, extend forgiveness, love, extra compassion, peace, even if you just show up in a room and not say one word and just emote that, like send it out from your heart space, that's the message. All right. So, but anyway, I did say it's going to be fun, so I don't want to get too deep there. So let's get into it. So group 1, it says, tell time by the sun. So that's a pocket edition little sundial. And then we've got some little sea life, figurines down there. Now, also fun, when I saw this, it says tell time by the sun, but I kept hearing, fun in the sun, to the point where I wanted to pull out this little party balloon. And then this aqua color theme started emerging, with the little figures. And then I even put a little ribbon over here, but we'll get to that later. Okay. Anyway, let's get into your cards. So your first card up is, I'll just pan down so you can see it. And we have number 20, have patience. And we have this boat sitting there. The water looks like glass. It's completely still and calm. Yet we see these circles. And actually now I got to move to my little, you can give me a moment. Hopefully I don't shake this up too much. My little feather pointer here. Here we go. So the water is really still and calm. You could even say almost stagnant. The people on this boat must be going crazy because, as you see, they rely on wind. Now, I think it's just a depiction that the sail is open, because it does not look like there's any wind happening here at all. In fact, it looks like this is the heavenly realm up here. And this is, so it's like a 5D and above. And then this is like the 3D world down here on the water. And what it looks like, if you look more closely, is that the heavenly realm, it's like the people down here just praying. They're like, come on, please. We've been here a while. We're really tired. We don't have patience anymore. Come on, give us some wind, show us some wind, man. And so then we go up here and, prayers are being heard apparently, because it looks like something, I don't know if you can see it. Sorry, the focus isn't really doing so great right now. But anyway, it looks like almost like a pebble is dropping down here, causing a ripple effect. So, whatever these people were doing down here, just saying, come on, for the love of God, like literally give us something, give us some wind. They're going to maybe not get the wind that they prayed for, but they're going to get movement in a different form. But the more, impatient they get about asking and pleading for that wind or that breeze, the more, some of their prayers might seem to be answered, but look, they're going to send it down in a trickle. They're just going to give them a tiny bit of movement until the people on this boat learn the lesson of patience. So if they can calm down, maybe get into a meditative state and just chill out, to use a modern term, and relax, then, the universe or God or the representation of this heavenly realm will start to send them maybe even more choppy seas, send them some more wind, and move them along. So the point is, as frustrating and infuriating as it can be to be in one of those stagnation moments of your life where it feels stagnant, feels like there's no movement, will I ever get out of this situation? It's like that moment where you feel like you're in hell even. We'll take it to more of an extreme. And, you're walking in the darkness and you're just like, oh my God, dear God, will I ever get out of this? And the answer is yes, if you just keep walking, maybe even just shut up and stop complaining. You know where you are. Just keep going, one foot in front of the other. And I'll refer to this again. I do it whenever I'm, led to bring up this kind of scenario. An example from the 1920s book, The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn. There was one, she was a metaphysical teacher, amongst other things, and one of her students asked her, like, oh my gosh, how long, what do I do to get out of this darkness? Similar like this hell. How long do I have to be in the dark? This is horrible. And then she said something to the effect, I'm paraphrasing, of, well, what do you do? Well, sometimes you just get really good at seeing in the dark. So you know what? That's a skill. Honing your vision to see really good in the dark is a very valuable and actually life-saving skill if you think about it. If you're out in the wild, if you can attune very readily and quickly to your environment around you as it turns from dusk, to nightfall, that could actually literally save your life. Also, of course, you're attuning your hearing and everything else. But anyway, so have patience. That is the message for this group. And again, we don't have to like it. We don't have to like being patient. Some of us do or have been around the block a bit in life and do kind of naturally have this patience after many, many lessons. But even those of us that are used to that still, have these moments of infuriating, when is something going to change? When am I going to get that wind, that fresh breeze to blow through, right? And the answer is you might not always know when, but just keep moving on your own. That people can still freely move up and back on that little deck. It's not like they're just mired and like stuck in one little spot, unless you're a prisoner on that ship and shackled somewhere. But even then, you can kind of move a little bit. Also, if you just sit still and again, just shut up, stop complaining about it. I say that with love. I say that if like to myself, really, if I'm in the situation, I just feel it because I have been in it seemed like eternal moment of stagnancy. And so I know this all too well recently. So anyway, if you just be quiet, and like I said, you don't have to meditate sitting in a literal lotus position, but you can just even be doing a walking meditation on this little boat and just in your mind already go past the boat, go beyond, go into other scenarios, so that you can, get out of this state. You don't have to physically be attached. You can use your other realm power and get off that boat in your mind, even if just in your mind, right? Until things actually physically down here get better. All right, I think that's enough of that. But learning this lesson of patience, then things will move. The more you resist it and complain about it, you're going to be given more and more reasons to be even more patient. So the quicker you can get still, the quicker you can just say, okay, it is what it is. I'm going to keep moving through. I'm not going to let this get me down. If I do let it get me down, okay, it's just going to be for a moment. I'm going to go outside. I'm going to go walk. I'm going to go run. I'm going to go in nature. I'm going to walk. If I can't solve my worldly problems, I can at least get out into nature and connect there. And then maybe things will start to open up, like nature's sending down, or heaven, sending down this movement, right? All right. So next we're going to look at, actually, I pulled this one next. So you had number 20 or 2. If you're tracking the numbers, you also have a 10 or a 1. And we have this kind of, 10 of cups / happy family, arching rainbow moment. Everything's coming up roses. Look at everything is so abundant and happy. They're smiling. They even have not just a dog, not just a cat, but for God's sakes, they have both. So it's like, come on, they got it all, right? And that's good, because maybe this whole family, you don't know. You just kind of go by appearances. You see, oh, this looks like a nice, happy, well-to-do, abundant family. But we don't know everybody's life story. We don't know what they've had to go through in some like maybe darker moments. And if they haven't had any, well, you know what? Good for them. Thank goodness, that people are happy. And maybe that's another thing too. If you're feeling like stuck and like in a personal hell, be happy for others, when you look around, and don't do by comparison and go, oh, well, they have all of that. I don't. Look at me, just kind of alone here. No, you can have the whole world being alone. They might even look to you and go, oh my gosh, yeah, I got to take care of all this stuff. There's just like way too much going on in my life. Sometimes these people might wish they were in this position again, right? So anyway, just don't judge looking over to what other people may or may not have. It's just what's coming to me. Okay. And if you do look over there, be jolly well happy for them, because anywhere where love and happiness is found, that's a good thing we're celebrating. And just because if you might not, doesn't mean you'll be in that position forever. And especially if you start being happy for others, if you start lamenting and, detesting things and looking at it darkly, then don't be surprised you're going to be stuck here for quite a while, and no little stones will be thrown to you to help move you along. All right, then I don't know why I said all that. So maybe somebody's really bitter, really, really bitter. This is a call for you to lighten up and be happy for everything going on around you, no matter what you are in. One of the things is you got to sometimes really look extra hard to find that happiness. I've been in tough situations and I've looked down and there's only been concrete around me, no fresh nature, no grass. And I saw the tiniest little weed with a little flower, burst up through the cracks. And I thought, wow, that's a good reminder. I did not like my situation working downtown, like in a concrete jungle. And that little flower slash weed reminded me of the true beauty of life, and that there's, always that which you can focus on, not the other stuff around you that you don't like. Look at the things that you love, like that little flower that burst up for me, or it just felt like it did. Anyway, let's move on. We have crystal grid, focus, create with intent. Now, I like this because, well, one, we have the, looks like a chrysocolla, maybe a turquoise stone, or an aquamarine, to tie in with the water theme and with cups, and the fluidity of that. But also, I love that they're creating this crystal grid with more than just crystals. We've got little flowers, little florets, we've got some leaves. And so maybe this is a invitation to you, especially if you're feeling bitter about your stagnancy here, or seeming stagnancy, or maybe, again, kind of jealous of what others may have. If you feel like you're in a position of lack with no end in sight to it, maybe do this little exercise as a remedy here to help you through it, like a little therapeutic exercise. And even if you have it all and are sitting on top of the world, things are good and flowing wonderfully in your life, this is still, great exercise just to kind of focus, and like a little meditation too, to kind of get lost in the process. Start with something special. Doesn't have to be a gemstone per se, or crystal. Could be just a pebble, a shell. It could be anything natural. And then just start to, build out from there. This is strongly reminding me of the Native American, the 4 directions, starting off with that. Anyway, that's all I'm getting for now. So that's group 1. Not what I expected, but again, I didn't mean to focus so much on the bitter part. I want to come back here to, tell time by the sun, or have fun in the sun, is really what I was getting. And just to show you, and it says seize the day on the top of the box. I forgot I took the actual compass out separately. Looks the same. Hang on. That is not going to cooperate today, so let me shove it over here. Let me shove it back there. Okay. So here's the real, content of that box. And so this is what it looks like, just so you know. So sundial, and let's see if we get any other messages. Hold level in the sun, align compass north, string shadow will fall on the hours. Now, this might also be a little invitation to just put a stick in the ground too, so you can also tell, what time it is. If you just stick a stick in the ground of some type, right? Anyway, so that's just fun. And just another little reminder, looking at the compass, where is north for you right now in your life, right? We could say north is usually oriented up when we're looking at a compass. What's looking up for you, So even if it feels like nothing is down here, coming back down here, something must be looking up. What do you enjoy? Is there anything? And if you can't think of a darn thing, again, the answer is to go out in nature, really look around you. Maybe it will surprise you and show you a little gift about yourself, a reflection about yourself, looking at the water. Maybe it will reflect back to you something that is joyful, okay? All right, now we're going to go to group number 2, and we have this little stress reliever squeeze ball, which actually, oriented to Antarctica. And then I have this little, sea life, fun little figure, and it's a jellyfish, okay? Now, Antarctica, I wanted to look up the etymology. So I know that Arctic, or the Arctic, has no bears, okay? And I remembered somehow that Antarctica meant no bears. So there are polar bears in the Arctic, not in Antarctica. There are penguins in Antarctica, but not in the Arctic. So anyway, the emperor penguins are down here, not in the Arctic. So we have some differences between the 2 poles, right? And why is that? I just have a question. Why are there no polar bears down here? Now, when we look at the etymology of Antarctica and Arctic, I'll start with the Arctic first. Arctic, if you go back to Old Greek, is supposedly from Arctos. I think it's Arctos, which means bear. And supposedly that was so named because of the constellations of the Ursa Major, I think the Big Dipper, and the giant like she bear, they say. So that's visible in the north, not in the south. But we also have bears in the north and not in the south. So you got to ask yourself why. So I understand the constellation idea and the naming. So why is it that there are polar bears at the north and not at the south? I don't have the answer, but it's just a thought for the day. Question for the day for all of us. Also, so much is hidden down in the Antarctic. Think about it. What century are we in now? It's 2023 is the year. And how come the public over the entire earth knows so precious little about what is going down here, right? The only stories, if you do some digging like I did, I was kind of awakened specifically in 2018 to really start looking into this. And we're only fed, I say fed, like spoon fed from whatever sources we can find. These days, which aren't too many, and no credible sources, mind you. If you're looking at the internet, really, you've got to really use your discernment and go within and feel out what feels right, what feels fishy, so to speak, like this jellyfish. But, when I was starting to look around, sure, we hear the story about Admiral Byrd, Rear Admiral Byrd, who went down, actually did a tour of the Arctic, flew over it, and Antarctica, and what he discovered. There's also Operation High Jumper told that happened down here, where he set up shop, and then all of a sudden they had to hightail it out of there. We're supposedly under attack. There was some Russian footage, I don't know if it was leaked or whatnot, showing actual like flying saucers and things coming out of here and attacking the military, and they got out of there with haste. So there's a lot of fishy stuff. Back to our little jellyfish, it does not add up about this story. It's not a country. It's like lots of different nations have laid claim to it. No claims are like officially recognized, at least by the U.S. Of anything prior to, I think, the 1950s. So the whole thing, just something is way off, way, way off. And my whole point about really talking about this is that no matter what has been tried to be concealed and hidden by humankind, and also maybe the galactic kind, sooner or later, with time, all the truth will come to the surface. It will come to light. So no matter what is trying to be buried or hidden, will not be able to be hidden anymore. Because remember, we're moving into an era, we're making a shift from the 3D Earth to a 5D Earth, more heavenly realm. And with that will come the truth. Now, truth right now, some people are already getting messages when they really connect in and they know how to use their internal gifts to connect into things. They're getting direct messages of what the real truth is here, sometimes not even looking for it. I had an experience where somebody I was around just suddenly went into trance channeling. I didn't even know what that was. And then I was asking questions, like whatever they were tapping into, said, go ahead and ask anything you want. So I did. I asked about inner earth. I asked about, all kinds of things, and got some pretty extraordinary answers. Now, you got to question who that trans channeler, what's coming through them, where, what is that being or entity? Is it a being or entity, in inner earth? And yes, I did say that I do not believe in a flat earth idea, at least not for here and now in our 3D world. Not to say there isn't some flat earth on some other reality or parallel reality, but for this one, I say there isn't. It's a globe-like thing. It may be rough here and there. It doesn't necessarily have to be a perfect sphere. I really don't care about those semantics. But I do know there is some type of inner earth just because of what I have been shown. And there are populaces. There's life inside the earth. What we've been told about an iron core ball or whatever, metal ball with then just magna, all that's just total BS. From a very young kid coming in onto this planet, I knew that was not true. So again, this is an era and a time to just tap in with our inner truth. Again, for the people that are believing in a flat earth and whatnot, hey, there's nothing to say that there isn't some type of flat version in some other parallel dimension or reality out there. And maybe that's why you kind of, key into that memory of it and believe that's true for you. However, I just know too much now, and I have been shown too much in otherworldly ways to know for sure we do have an inner earth. That's all I'm going to say about that for now. But anyway, what is hidden will no longer be hidden pretty soon. My whole point in talking about it is once you start digging, metaphorically, and looking into the Antarctica, situation, you'll see that, okay, we're only spoon fed this Admiral Byrd stories. And, and I'm sure it could be absolutely true. But why is it that that's the only thing pushed, that we only know about that Admiral Byrd thing? And then I had to dig deeper, and I found a novel, not novel, sorry. It was supposedly a biography of somebody who did stumble and find the north entrance, the Arctic entrance to Hollow Earth, Inner Earth. And I've covered that on previous shows. But anyway, it's called The Smoky God, and I think it's called A Smoky God, A Voyage to the Inner Earth. Recorded in the 1920s, but the journey of this Swedish guy and his dad was in the 1800s. So again, I question too, is that a true, a faithful documentation of it, or just another story? In that book, though, there's enough that somebody was in the presence of the truth, because there's a lot of things in there that I thought, that actually does register as true for me. And so we have to look at all of this deeper. Anyway, I've spent a lot of time on that, but the message here is truth will always find a way to come to light, and it will in this case too with Antarctica. Okay, and that goes also for things coming out about UFOs and aliens and all of that. We're going to start to know the truth on all of these things. It's not going to come from the media. It's not going to come from the government. It's going to come from communications. Little light bulb moments are just going to be activated in people's heads, and we'll get to it. So no worries there. All right. And I'm just bringing that up about UFOs and aliens too, because these jellyfish always look so alien. And maybe that's another message to look into, how they function. They're really fascinating. All right, so we are finally going to get to your cards. My goodness. Right away, we have number 1, engage trust. And what I like about this is, this dome on this temples remind me of the dome on the top of this jellyfish, and the coloring and the way these tentacles are reminding me of, this kind of surrounding it. As is, this ring is reminding me of this ice cap down here, right? Anyway, we have the butterfly usually depicts transformation. But in this case, I'm not getting that. It seems like everything is already known. This patterning here kind of reminds me of the stars and the constellations. We even have the stars and constellations back here. And the temple to me is representing wisdom and solidity in that wisdom. So everything just seems kind of self-contained, yet open, to all the infinite possibilities. Everything's already known. So to me, the butterfly in this case is just a reminder of the earthly realm grounding down, and the temple's like the transition into the heavenly realms above. And I'm bringing that up because that's going to relate down to this card. Normally I go in sequence, I'm going to go a little bit out of order. This one. So actually this is, to me, also some kind of abstract representation of what's going down on here with, I think it's called Torii Gate. It looks like Torii Gate, but maybe I think it's pronounced Torii. This is a gate often used in Japan and Asia, and it is the boundary, kind of signifies a boundary between moving into the spiritual, religious plane, coming in from the the secular side. And so just from what I was looking around, I have not been over into those countries to experience how it's used. Just what I could read is, when you go through, you just bow your head, say maybe a little internal prayer, and then typically not walk through the exact center, maybe off to the right a little bit or to the left a little bit. Somebody out there, you can correct me if I'm wrong about that. Anyway, this beautiful card is talking about, I think it's astrophyllite or astrophyllite and ginkgo, star elders, signs and symbols, divine blueprints, Amenti. When I hear the word Amenti, I'm reminded of The Halls of Amenti. It's a book by Ashayana. Is that her name? Sorry, I think it's Ashayana Dean. Her original name was Anne Hayes, Anna Hayes. And she did an interview with Carrie Cassidy back in, 10 years ago. And I'm not here to talk about any controversies with any figures that we see now, but Carrie Cassidy did an incredible interview with an incredible person, Ashayana Dean, about 10 years ago. There's 3 parts. They're 2 hours long each. They should still be on YouTube. I highly recommend you go listen to her if you're ready for her. She has a ton of information. And again, use your inner discernment, your inner, ability to register what feels true for you in that information. Halls of Amenti. I think, the overall book is called Voyagers. There's Voyagers 1 and Voyagers 2, Halls of Amenti. If you can get your hands on that, I highly recommend it. All right, so here we're looking, we've got this kind of astro connection. These two cards really do relate to me. Even the color palette of this crystal, is really working with this. And, this kind of white ring around it, here too. And we've got the astro connection with the stars here and the gates. These really do tie together and reinforce. Even the ginkgo reminds me a little bit of an abstract spread out butterfly. So whatever the case, the message, again, was engage, trust. Well, trust in who? I think it's very clear. It's trust within. That's the temple is a representation of you, and you keeping your temple pure, and so that you can. It even has like a little bit of a stick or something at the top, the ornament, to show that it's got like an antenna out to the universe, but it's also grounded, with these columns into the earth. And that's us standing there with our crown chakra open up to the infinite above, but we're, our feet and our legs, we're also very much about being grounded in, right? So anyway, engage trust your within, take time to reflect, do some inner meditation. Like I said, you don't have to sit in lotus position like I talked about in group 1. To meditate, I've talked about it in a previous show. You can do walking meditations. You can do any number. You can just float in water, whatever you need to do to connect. But trust, engage in that trust. Trust your inner self, which is connected to God, to Source, to the universe, Allah, Jesus, Buddha, whatever you want to call it, whatever works for you. It's all love. That's why I say I don't really care about the names of what we're calling things. It's by feeling and in that heart space that matters, okay? And for me anyway. All right, so here we're going to go number 4, the Emperor. Now what's interesting about this Emperor is, again, he's holding a staff, which to me this is the depiction of the moon and sun, or it could be moon and planet. I'm picking up more moon and sun because of the reflection off of it. But anyway, he is sitting on a rock throne, throne from the earth and throne, but in this case it's a rock. And he's very confident, right? He's got his feet are kind of just tippy-toe touching the ground. He's got the flowers, even though it seems kind of a little bit desertous and mountainous. He kind of has everything. He has the all within his reach. And he is not ruling over anything. I don't get that impression. He seems to have mastered everything that he needs to know to coexist in harmony. And not even coexist, but to be in harmony and be one, with all that is. And to me, in this case, it's the Emperor not ruling over anything so much as it is that feeling of confidence and knowing that all is well, all is balanced. He seems very balanced. And because he's sitting in that repose and that state, he knows that everything that is here, is there to serve him and him to serve it in perfect balance. And so what does that mean? Oh, did I read your thing down here? Yes. Engage in trust. Well, he's trusting himself, obviously, and trusting all around him, and that everything will work in his favor is the heavy, heavy vibe that I'm getting there. So that's just a little message. Everything will work in your favor. Everything will work out. Just tap into your inner self. Engage in trust in yourself. Try to align with that strength that is literally at your feet. If you go and do earthing, I know I say it all the time, stick your feet in the ground, literally to kick your shoes off or anything that could be a interrupter to the conductivity of the earth to reaching your actual sensory cells in your feet. And even throw your hands up in the air, just totally connect out and tap into that, get to that state of inner confidence and calm and knowing all is well. And that you have infinite resources above and below your feet to, capture that feeling. All right, now we're going to move on to group 3. And here we have this lovely T-Rex. Now I threw this double-sided satin ribbon on just for fun. I also seem to tie everything in with a color. Big color of the day in this reading is aqua or turquoise, right? And I threw it on there. So kind of in the theme here of the Antarctic, maybe he was cold and it's a scarf, right? Or actually when I threw it on, I was just thinking about if this dinosaur were existing now and we're in a small enough size, somebody would throw a leash on them. So this might be a call for if you have pets and they're always on a leash when you go out, maybe find a contained area where you can let them run around without the leash. And, I'm sure most of you already do that, but that's just a little message there. And this also reminds me of the modern world. If this were a human, that's the tie. So if you're a man and you go to work every day, you got to wear a suit and tie. maybe change it up. Find a way to not wear that tie. To me, that's the modern day dog leash on mankind. So chuck it out the window, maybe mix things up a little bit and dress in a different way. Okay. All right. So now we're going to go to your cards, and we have this owl perched on a seeming, like a post in the water is what it feels like. And then we've got trust your wisdom, number 13 or number 4. All right. We always have that, expression, the wise old owl. And that owl's looking behind him, or somewhat behind him. And to me, that's representing looking at the past of all the wisdom, looking at all of the past that led that owl to where he is right here, to be able to sit here and poised and repose, seemingly calm, having his moment in the sun. And I say that looking back because, and all the wisdom acquired, because I have been in the presence of a little baby owl who was really nervous and jittery and always looking up. Why? Because there's always a bigger predator. This one looks like, I've learned all my life lessons. Now I can kind of sense things. I'm going to use more of my intuition, all my senses, and less my physical eyes to look up and around like I did as a little baby owl, right? And that represents us too. When we're younger, actually, we may even be oblivious. We have other people taking care of us. But then we go through phases where we're a little jittery, starting looking around with our physical eyes. Where am I? What am I doing in this world? What is going on? Until you can mature and get to your more of your wisdom, where you kind of know, okay, I don't have to live that way. I don't have to be nervous about anything. I can trust my inner self. I've had the hard lessons, the easy lessons to make me all who I am today, the complete circle. And I'm ready to fly, right? So maybe that's the message. Are you ready to fly? And even if you don't feel like you're ready to fly, most birds that get kicked out of the nest, it's like trial by fire, sink or swim. Sometimes you just got to take that moment, get off that safe little post and explore the world. Spread your wings and fly is the message today. Okay? Spread your wings and fly. Trust your wisdom. Trust the all who you are and why you're even here. And we were born to fly. All right? All right. Now we're going to come over to, we'll come over to this one next. And we have this beautiful tree, the Empress tree, catalyst for change, clarity, freedom, unbinding. Okay. So yeah, with wisdom, we have the clarity, but sometimes we're not at this state yet, this one seems kind of sitting on the post, like he's already done all of his life lessons, or a lot of them. But in this case, we might not be there yet. And but what we can do is plant our feet in the ground and reach our arms up, almost like, embodying and becoming this tree, and reaching up to the cosmos for answers in meditation or in a walking meditation in nature. This is kind of echoing similar messages in previous groups, and anchoring our feet down, literally earthing like I talked in group 2, kicking the shoes off so there's no barrier between our sensory cells and our feet and the actual Earth Mother Earth, Gaia, Pachamama, whatever you want to refer to as the earth, the sentient being. And anyway, get all those good currents and vibes coming in from the earth as your arms extend, your hands up into the infinite space, and have your mind, your crown chakra, just kind of imagining you are reaching out into the cosmos for all the answers of life coming from both directions, up there and from down below. It's just what it reminds me of. And so if you feel stuck, that's a good little exercise. Just go out, put your feet on the ground, throw your hands up, and see what comes in. Also, you can put your hand on a tree. People hug trees, sure, because you start to feel that tree, and you start to feel the wisdom. If you can find a more mature tree, you feel the wisdom, and you can even silently, telepathically speak with it to get answers. It really does work if you can get still enough and you have that belief and that willingness to connect with nature. All right. Now, speaking of that, this card, let me get to it, is number 1, the Magician. That's what she's doing. Her arms are thrown up in the air. She's on the ground, Now, in this case, we have the depiction of the swords, the wands, the cups, or the chalice, and the pentacles, the coins. And we have the winter trees in the background. So it kind of shows us in the colors that she's wearing, like she's kind of either in the winter of her life and has learned everything, all the tools that she needs to be able to create this magic. And look at, she and the tree are the same, like I said, except if you move this spark, this kind of God spark energy up more toward her heart chakra, to me that makes more sense. This is in her solar plexus. But she is doing what I just said. She's throwing her arms up, or like the tree branches, right? And even the colors are aligning. The violet for the crown chakra, the blue for the throat chakra. She is expressing her willingness to connect to the infinite, and that's the infinity symbol in the cosmos. And but she's very much grounded as well. You know, we can't see what her feet are doing, but we have snow, but we also have clearing where it's not snowy. So she could also be presumably just standing on the dirt, connecting in. And I bet she is, to draw full power off both the ground, you know, and from the heavens. She's that bridge to let the magic happen, you know, within her. Especially happens when you're connected in with both. Now, winter of your life, I was just saying, so she doesn't look physically old, like you could say your winter in your life. You might, you know, look more like gray or white haired with wrinkles. No, a lot of the kids coming in these days in the past couple decades are coming in fully equipped. They got all this wisdom already in them. Oops. And they know how to use it. You know, they already are familiar with it. So, you know, a lot of us older folk have had to go through so many decades to learn some stuff, or not learn, but remember, you know, who we are and what gifts we have within. While these young kids, they just come in already equipped, and you tell them something and they're like, oh yeah, I know. So anyway, winter of your life doesn't mean that you've had to acquire wisdoms necessarily over, you know, decades and decades. You can have the winter of your life and be like 6 years old as far as having all of these beautiful wisdoms, and you know, they fully trust them right away. Right now, a lot of us who are in the older, you know, bracket by earth years could, you know, stand to learn a lot from the kids. They're here to teach us, so age doesn't matter so much. And then of course we have things to share with them, but more from the earthly perspective, right? So it's a nice even balance. All right, so do trust your wisdom, you know. And if we go back to our little dinosaur example, you know, that also represents, you know, the ancient being. And like I talked in group 2 about Antarctica, there is so much we don't know the truth about. Dinosaurs falls in that category as well. So you might want to look at my long intro on group 2 about different thoughts about that. The truth will surface. It's been long hidden. We're not given the full story about dinosaurs. You would think by now in 2023, we would know far more than what we do about them in the story that we've been told. And the story needs to be questioned. And just to let you know, the answers are not going to come from the outside, not going to come from internet, not going to come from the media. They're going to come from within. And so, again, that inner wisdom, we need to tap into it, because then the answers will start to flow, even about things like that. And we're getting answers, like I said, number 2, you can go hug a tree if you're really in tune. You can start to get answers about the cosmos and things like the dinosaurs. Or some people are getting messages, like I talked earlier about trans-channeling, and some people are just going to get messages from either running into somebody who's trans-channeling it in, and it clicks with you as being true. Not everything trans-channeled is true also, right? Or just suddenly you'll be activated. You'll wake up one morning and go, oh, hey, I just totally know the mystery of the dinosaur. You'll have a very profound prophetic dream, and everything will be revealed to you. So see, we don't need answers from the outside. It's always been from within where we're going to get it. We're going to remember things. We're going to remember how to tap in deeper for the truth, because in this case, you know, this seems like very much like a truth-seeking pile. Okay, so that's another message. Seek the truth. If you're not getting answers and you're frustrated, just ask for it at dream time. You know, when you go to sleep, you know, the owl to me also depicts, you know, a being of the night. Just before you go fluff your pillow and go to bed, make that intention. Say, I would like to know this and this. Please show me at dream time. And please show me in my dream time. And also, please let me remember it. Okay? And then you can write it down when you wake up. All right, well, that's it for group 3. And again, I wish all of you, as always, tremendous peace and love. Have a gorgeous right now. Lavender Sky Panther. Bye.